What's up, everybody? I am Taylor, and I'm powerless over life, but not my reaction to life. I created this YouTube channel from my heart to share my experience, strength, and hope, and to share with you the things I've learned from others and the things I've taught myself through research and life experience since I've been in 12-step programs for the past 2 years. This video is just a video where I'm going to speak whatever's on my heart. You know, I've been really going through hard times since I've been in recovery. You know, I used to think that if I got sober, that was my problem. The drinking, the using, that was the main issue. And if I got rid of that, everything would be okay. It would repair my relationships with others. You know, I could learn to like myself. I could learn to be happy. I thought that all those things would happen if I stopped drinking. And I found out real quick, real fast, every time I tried to quit drinking, that I was the problem. I am the issue. I had to stop playing and having that victim mentality and blaming everybody for my pain. I was responsible for my own pain. And growing up, I never was taught how to deal with pain in a healthy, effective way. All that was ever modeled to me growing up was anger, rage, and happiness. When a person grows up around these two main emotions, and also for me with relationships with different men throughout my life, I would get in relationships with men who did not treat me well, because that is what I was used to growing up. I was used to having adults and role models in my life who belittled me, criticized me, who yelled at me. So if that is all I am around my entire childhood, then that is what I'm comfortable to. And when I would find a healthy man, very nice, respectful man, I would be really uncomfortable and I would run like hell, because my brain was not comfortable with that. My brain could not predict what was going to happen. And that's what I had to realize. I had to realize in order for me to grow, I'm going to have to surround myself with people who have what I want. People who are honest, positive, people who don't talk about their past, like obsess and ruminate and are constantly in the past. People who treat themselves good and people who treat other people good. Those are the types of people I started surrounding myself with when I got in recovery. And it felt so uncomfortable. I just surrounded myself around these people, and I didn't talk any crazy stuff about my past. I didn't go into deep detail about my past. You know, I have certain people for certain things. And that's just, since I've been in life in general, especially in 12-step programs, I have realized I cannot be vulnerable with everybody. It's not safe. And that is a logical reason that it's not safe with everybody. Not everybody's going to see me, hear me, and understand me. I'm going to have a lot of people that want what I have and don't have it. And they're going to have envy and jealousy. And they're not going to be happy for me. And I had to realize that on my own early in recovery. And so for me, with relationships, I would put myself in these relationships and I would allow myself to continue to be abused. I would allow the emotional, physical, that abuse to go on because that's what my brain was comfortable. My brain could predict the abuse because I was used to the abuse. So the more I started in 12-step programs, hanging around positive, healthy people, the more their characteristics started coming off on me. I started learning from them the same way I learned as a child in my unhealthy, dysfunctional childhood and my environment. I did the same thing as an adult. I put myself with people who had what I wanted, and that is how it rubbed off on me. And then I started not surrounding myself with people that were dishonest, that were disrespectful, that would go behind my back and start talking about me. Or also, I would stay away from people that would talk about other people behind their back to me. I would stay away from those people, because if a person's going to talk smack about you, is going to talk smack about another person to you, then they're going to talk about you. And that's just the reality of it. There's a way to like bring up stuff about people without like talking crap and based off opinions and assumptions and judgments. If I talk about somebody, one, I don't go and sit there and talk about somebody deep in detail to somebody else. I might say something like something that is known to the whole group, that is public knowledge, I might talk about, but I still don't go in deep into detail. I say the main point. And I'm like, I wish them well. Whereas before the program, I would talk a lot of crap about a lot of people. And I also talked a lot of crap about myself to myself because I was miserable. I have realized that hurt people hurt people. And if a person truly loves themselves, then they're capable of loving you. But if they're not capable of loving themselves, then it is insanity to think that they would ever love you. I did not realize, people would say you have to learn to love yourself. You have to love yourself more than you love them. And I would say, you don't understand. I love them more than I love myself. And it wasn't, it might have been a little bit of love, but love is such a broad term. I don't understand, our caregivers or people we trust, they claim that they love us, but yet they hurt us, they disrespect us, they lie to us. And something that I've realized is that they're just sick. They're incapable of experiencing love in general. So they're not going to be able to give me the love I deserve because they don't love themselves. And I've worked really hard with inner work, loving myself, respecting myself, forgiving myself, and all of this inner work that I was able to do because of 12-step programs, right? And it's like one day I looked in the mirror and I smiled at myself and I felt gratitude. Before, when I looked in the mirror, I hated who I had become. I was dissociated from myself. I didn't recognize myself. I carried shame and guilt, and I could barely look myself in the eyes in the mirror. It was that bad for me. And I started doing positive affirmations, the little silly things. It took me years. I had already knew about affirmations, but every time I would try to go do them, I would feel icky, pissed off, sad. Like my mind would be like, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. When I was trying to say like, I love myself. I love you, Taylor. It's like, no, you don't. That little voice behind that affirmation was, no, you don't. No, you don't. And I would feel like crap until I learned that in order for me to believe this, I have to convince my brain that this information I am telling it is true. So if I have told myself my entire life, I am a piece of shit and I am not good enough, then I am going to feel not good enough and I'm going to think I'm a piece of shit. But if I start telling my brain, you are good enough, I love you, you're beautiful, and all of these things, whatever, that I did not believe, then my brain's going to start believing it because I'm going to introduce my brain to this new information. And I'm basically tricking my brain. And that is why I talk about this so much, because it's really that simple. It's that simple. Change can be that simple. And I made change complicated all of those years in and out of 12-step programs when I realized that I can write down a whole paragraph, a motivational letter to myself, and I can read it many times a day. I can put it somewhere where I will see it all throughout the day because I am constantly introducing my brain to this information. And I am constantly convincing myself that this information can be true. And that is how I quit drinking. It sounds so silly, but that's exactly how I quit drinking. I quit drinking without 12-step programs. And what I did is I wrote a motivational letter to myself, reminding me why I want to quit, the harm it's done to me, what will happen if I don't, and just motivation. I made it about a page and a half long. I typed it out, all fancy because that's what I do. And I put it on my desk, which I walk past my desk 1,000 times a day, And I read that letter out loud several times to myself on a daily basis, many times a day. And that let my brain know, hey, if you go drink, this is going to happen. Remember where you were. Remember what it's taken from you. Remember, because my brain will forget. Because when my brain wants alcohol, it will make any justification and excuse and delusion it can to trick me into a drink. And that is what the diseased mind is. I don't know why the diseased mind is there. I do know the first moment I took a substance, it completely changed my mind and basically brainwashed me for the rest of my life. And I had to realize the longer I stay away from substances and alcohol, the easier it will get. I had to give my brain time to level out. And so it took me so long to start doing these affirmations. And there's a lady that really helped me many years ago. Her name's Mel Robbins. And I really like what this lady has to say. Some people that I see on YouTube just really click. And some people I don't care for. You take what you can get, whatever. So she started saying, do a high five in the mirror. And I'm like, really? Like, what the hell is that gonna do? And I started doing it and I started feeling different. It's the little things that I do and that I've done on a daily basis to get me to where I'm at today. And I started having conversations out loud to myself. And I cannot begin to just explain the benefits I have experienced when I started meditation, on top of talking out loud to myself, claiming my spot in the universe. I'm telling myself, I'm motivating myself, I'm venting to myself because I'm listening to myself. And so I'm supporting myself emotionally. I'm learning how to emotionally show up for myself the way nobody showed up for me. And it's the exercises, the talking out loud, the journaling. I can't write anymore because my hands are too numb and they cramp up. So I talk text into my journal app. So there's always a way to do something, but about 20 different ways of doing it. And that's what I had to figure out. I had to figure out my own coping skills. I had to figure out different ways of doing things. And I like to record on my voice recorder app. Any phone can get it. It's an app, a voice recorder app. I like to record myself, like venting or motivating myself, whatever. I like to record that so later I can go back. And for example, if I'm down, which I barely get down anymore because I've done so much inner work. I don't get down like I used to. I might be upset, I might feel emotion, but it doesn't consume me and I don't obsess about it like before the program. And what I've done in the beginning is I do that voice recording thing, right? Motivating myself, pumping myself up, reminding myself like where you were, how you been, motivational pep talk. And I've been down before in the past, and I go and I listen to that over and over and over again. And guess what? It brings me completely back up. It completely bounces me up. And so ultimately, I have a choice. Am I going to sit here in my emotions and ruminate and obsess over things that I have no control over? Or am I going to take action and I'm going to do something to help this emotion disappear, to help clear this emotion? It's all about distraction of the brain. We distract our brain. We are impossible. We can do anything we want. And see, that's what the thing is that I had to reach within myself to find a power greater than myself. But I am that power. I don't know what, why, how, but I have a power that I have been taught that I have not had this power. Let me rephrase that. I have a power within inside me that I can make anything happen. The impossible can become possible. And it's up to me to make it happen, to take action. And that's the thing about manifestation. I used to think manifestation was magic, and I'll do a different video on that because it's already 15 minutes. But for me, I had to learn to build a relationship with myself. I had to learn to connect to myself. I had to learn to love myself until I was able to give love to someone else, spouse, friend, even my children. Yes, I love them, but I was not emotionally connected to them, and that's a different thing. I had to learn to emotionally connect to myself in order to emotionally connect with other people. Hope this video helped. I'll do more.